Okay, game 4 of my match against MackAttack. You can see the kingdom here. I think I'm going to open with a church. The ironworks can be decent if you want to just get mills. Mill gives you plus card, plus action. Mills are kind of neutral cards in your deck. I can see that being pretty good. The village is native village, which doesn't draw great, but you can do some stuff there. And you probably want to be the person who starts playing torture on your opponent quickly. So I could see both. I think Bounty Hunter is right for the first one, and then after that I'll try to get an Ironworks. Then a Torturer, some... I guess maybe I'll just get the Ironworks right away. I want a bunch of mills, bunch of native villages to make this deck work. You can get buys with Tragic Hero. If you get super thin off of Church, Bounty Hunter, Native Village, you can always Windfall for some payload. I can get a second church here, or I can get a native village. I think I'm going to get the native village. And I don't know that I'll need another church with Bounty Hunter, but maybe I will. Church can do some stuff. If you discard a bunch of cards with Torture, you can get them back up with Bounty Hunter. My idea. Okay. So, definitely Ironworks here from Mill. Church, don't set anything aside by the Bounty Hunter. So now the plan is to just start getting lots of Torturers. And hope I don't get attacked too hard by their Torturer. Oops. Mill with 4. I can get another Bounty Hunter or another Church. I get another Church. I was hoping to draw my Bounty Hunter at some point. My Bounty Hunter bottom decked here, quite sadly. I don't know if that's right. Let me undo that. I did not want to gain that curse. Yeah, wanted to discard there. I'm a little on tilt from last game. Like how hard I felt like the deck slammed me, and now I miss my Bounty Hunter here, which means I don't hit 5 again. So they're going to have 2 5s before I have a single 5, and miss the shuffle, which may be, somewhat my own fault for buying a bunch of cards that don't super help you hit 5. But also if I drew the Bounty Hunter here, I would have definitely hit 5 in this turn. So it's a little bit sad. I'll set aside a card with Native Village and draw with Native Village. And then hopefully be able to use the churches to thin out the curses fairly easily. That seems like it should work. I have quite a few more engine pieces than they do already. 2 churches, 2 mills. We're equal on some other stuff, but they're going to have probably two torturers. Yeah. Okay, so the Bounty Hunter is the top card of the deck, which is nice. Ideally, I'll be able to find an estate here, but we'll see if that can happen. I'm definitely going to play the mill because I want to try to find another treasure to hit 5 so I can buy torturers. Try to get 2 torturers this shuffle. Okay, so I don't need to discard Bounty Hunter and Estate. Church. Don't set anything aside by Torturer. Okay, so I have the 2 torturers that they don't have trashed 1 estate. They've trashed 2 estates. Sorry, they've exiled 2 estates. I'm going to be able to trash with the 2 churches fairly reasonably. Draw. I think they were confused why the mill drew them a card, because it's a victory card. That's the reason I went for the Ironworks stuff mostly, was mills are plus card, plus actions. The Ironworks is kind of neutral, and I can always use it to gain more villages or churches later. Even silver's in a pinch. And I can always use Apprentice to trash the mills for +4 cards. But again, I feel pretty behind this game, mostly because my bounty hunter missed my second shuffle. Other than that, I feel like our decks are pretty close. They just have 1/5 cost that I don't have, and in theory, they're going to get another one here. I'm also not trashing super fast. Why am I not trashing super fast? Okay, my church. I didn't see the church turn 3, and I haven't seen the second church yet. Okay, so I have another church down here. Okay. And trash that. Gain a mill. Okay, so it's don't discard. Set aside. Okay, so that's a church. I'm happy to be setting aside coppers. I'm unhappy to set aside my church. I get another mill. Ironworks, silver, bounty hunter. None of these cards inspire me too much. Probably could have picked up there. It's too late for that. Guess I'm going to get a native village. With 2 more native villages, I consider setting aside here. Maybe I'll draw with the mill first and see if I learn anything more. I can consider setting aside here, and in turn, I can consider drawing. Drawing on. I'll probably pick up. We'll see. We'll see what they end up doing, and if that affects my decision at all. So, I know they have another Torturer in the deck, and I don't know, and I assume they haven't played it this shuffle, so if it's, oh, they triggered a shuffle with their Torturer out of it. So I think their Torturer is in their discard pile right now. That doesn't, I'm not. They shuffled again. So they have a Torturer down there. I assume they don't have it in hand, otherwise they would have played it. So I assume their hand is just essentially coppers and estates. Given their position, I think they can consider adding a Tragic Hero now for the plus buy. That would be my bet for best card here. Unless they want to really try to turn the screws with the Torturer stuff. What form of torture is turning the screws? I forget. It's one of them. I'm not going to discard that. So I can do a set aside here and then pick up, play the Torturer. Okay, so this is at least a decent shuffle here. I can play the mill, set aside a bunch of stuff with I'm not going to discard that. I'm basically going to set aside 2 things with churches and buy another Torturer. That way everything gets into my next shuffle, potentially. I don't want to discard here, so I will. And again, my next buy then will be Tragic Hero when I hit 5 again. I have exiled a state. I've not exiled a curse. I could potentially exile a curse for +3 money, depending on if I want to hit 5 here. I could also exile a copper and probably do that. I don't want to trigger the shuffle, so I might even exile a mill, as strange as that sounds. And then Ironworks and mill to get both back if they don't end up getting a mill. Okay, so they're not getting a mill, obviously. So what is the last card of my deck? It's not a native village. Okay, so kill that. Kill that. Okay, I think I'll do this thing. Bounty hunt a mill. Ironworks for a mill. Discard from exile. Oh, it was a native village. Oops. Oh, okay, so now the Tragic Hero. So they've exiled 3. I've exiled 1. I've trashed, but I'm trashing mostly curses because I'm gaining the curses. So they're actually thinner than I am. And they've been discarding to my Torturer when I played it. Okay, I've only played it once and they've discarded once. And I wasn't able to play it last turn. So maybe I affected this turn of theirs. They bought a 3 cost. Potentially they could have bought a 5 cost if they hadn't discarded 2 cards to my Torturer here. So it's doing a bit of work. And again, with the Church, I'm kind of happy to take the Curse. I can set it aside and trash it next turn. Obviously, I'd much be rather trashing trashing coppers than trashing curses, but I have the curses, so I'm kind of stuck with them. It doesn't look like they're going to find their Torturer this turn, unless it's the last card in their deck, in their hand. I assume they would have played it by now. Discard. Okay, I can play the Torturer dead. That doesn't feel good. So I will set it aside for next turn and buy a village, and I'm almost certainly going to find a village next turn. I found 2. Quite nice. I assume they're going to be able to find a Torturer here. It could have been a Torturer they didn't want to play dead. I could have played a Torturer dead, I think. It wouldn't kill me. I don't have a ton of money in my deck, so the 1+ buy is nice, but the 2nd+ buy is not nice. Doesn't do much for me right now, so probably the next 5 I'll get will be another Torturer. I feel like they're a tiny bit thinner than me. I have a little bit more thinning capabilities. I guess I've trashed an estate that they haven't. And I have 1 more curse. That's the 2 VP difference. Probably we split the mill pile. I think my plan will be to set aside with the first native village, then draw with the Torturer. I might try to build up some stuff on my native village mat, just so my deck is effectively thinner, especially if I can find, not super great engine pieces. Obviously, if I set aside a Torturer or a Tragic Hero, I kind of have to pick it back up again. But anything else, mill, another native village, even like the Ironworks, I'm kind of okay with it being on the mat for a turn or 2. The other thing to watch out for is with Ironworks, the native village pile is on 3, the curse pile is lowering. There are some sneaky pile potentials here. Man. If I'm going to gain the curse, I can't have just bad turns over and over and over again. And I apologize for the absences. They're playing very deliberately, and I don't have a lot to add in those gaps. I tend to be much more play action in my play. So it's easier when I'm thinking doing here. The other thing is there's not like an end buy, but there's not an end. I don't know that they've clicked end actions, so it's confusing to me as to if I knew that they'd hit end actions and are thinking about their buys, I can talk about what they're going to buy. And now I guess I know they have won. They gained a native village. They played a Tragic Hero to draw up. Yeah, so I thought they'd run out of actions, but they had 1 still. Okay, so they bought a native village, and I assume they're going to buy another draw card, another Torturer. Okay, set aside. That's quite nice. And I can consider exiling. I can exile a copper here. That's fine. Okay. Okay, that's all good. I thought that was pretty decent stuff to set aside, so I'm pretty happy about that. I do need to play on here. See what they do. Okay, so they're giving up on their next turn? A little bit confused by that. Okay, do I know what the last card is? Was a mill. Okay, I'm happy to discard mills. The opportunity cost of drawing, and I can always get them back, and my turn will be quite a bit better when I draw them up again. Okay, I probably could have done something there with mill discard and had a better turn, if I think about it a little bit more. So what's the plan? Province is a bit early, or is it? Could set aside mill, curse, and buy a province, and force them to green next turn. They've got 2 buys. I've got 2 buys. I could also windfall. It makes it much more likely for me to be able to province a couple turns in a row, but it means that it's going to be quite tough for me to draw deck consistently after that. And again, the native village pile is low. The curse pile is low. I don't think they're going to have a good turn next turn because they only have 1 card in hand. So I think the best thing to do is to build 1 more turn and then try to pile out the turn after that. Set 2 things aside. And so the thing is, I don't think that they can pile. So I'm going to get the plus buy and the last village and not take any more curses here than I absolutely have to. Yeah, so they're going to have to discard again this turn, otherwise I may be able to win on the curse pile. Well, I think that's pretty much impossible, but set aside, draw. And I did exile a copper already, so I can discard those. Now I'm going to start grabbing up money. I think I will need to pick all that up, because there's good stuff in there. So they gained a curse. So I can't actually pile here, but it would be a losing pile. It's definitely a pickup. So how many cards do I want to draw with mill? I'm pretty much okay. Oh, I can Ironworks for an estate. That's not enough points, though. I can Ironworks for a curse and buy province curse. Ironworks for a curse, buy province curse, and I win the game, okay? So, I guess I will draw here. Gold. Set aside. Draw. And if they take a curse here, I can win. If they don't, I'm going to green. Okay, so they discarded. Okay, so I can do the thing I said I was going to do, which is I can actually overdraw a bit. Set aside. Do I want to gain anything with my Ironworks? Probably not right now. Gain another Ironworks. And then I want to buy just a single province now. Or I'm going to have 13, so I guess province duchy. Or I could set aside 3 cards. And then I'll have 10. Yeah, I want to have 13, which is all my money. That's province duchy. Or I could have like 11 and just buy province. Nothing? Or I could gain an estate and set that aside. I think I like doing that. Okay, so with 11, I'm going to buy a province and nothing. So I popped my treasure cure there. I only have 2 buys. I I anticipate probably going to take a curse or two here on this turn. They've only got 3 gains total, so they can gain, and they need to gain a province at least. They've got an Ironworks gain, a Tragic Hero gain, and the normal buy. They could also use Ironworks to gain Ironworks and gain and play it, but neither of these decks are drawing sufficiently to make that reasonable. So I've got a Church coming into play, so I can take 1 curse here. I actually maybe want to take 2 curses to lower the piles more. 2 curses is my absolute limit, and 1 curse might be my absolute limit because they can iron. I have to see if they Ironworks. They can Ironworks for a curse. Buy a curse, buy a province. They're losing VP on that though, so that line at least seems to be okay for me. So I will take 1 more curse if given the opportunity. And yeah, I think they needed to take some curses last turn, or sorry, 2 turns ago, because the dead turn that they have means I can build and play my hand, play sort of a two turn game. It's almost like a free seed the day type event. I anticipate getting tortured again. They've got 2 more torturers, and if they play their Ironworks before their 3rd torturer, I have a decision to make, because I'll know they didn't Ironworks for curse. If I gain 3 curses, then they can do something like Province Duchy Curse, which does win. So I can't gain 3 curses, and I have to redo the math in my head to see if they can get 2. No, so they've got 3 gains, so if they have to get 2 curses, the most VP they can net is 4, which would put them at 10, and if I take 1 more curse, I would have 11. The math there is somewhat complicated for Dominion, with the pluses and the minuses, the number of gains and buys. You got to watch out for that. Also note that I lost a buy from last turn. But I'm ending the turn with a VP lead, so they're almost forced to, on their next turn, discard 2 my torturers if I can find them, which I should be able to find 1 or 2. I've got 5 cards of draw in my hands, and I've got more mills and other stuff down there. Mostly, unfortunately, the Churchers have just been trashing curses. Maybe I needed to have gotten a 3rd curse, or maybe the Bounty Hunter in the opening shuffle was good. Okay, so they weren't able to fully draw through. They buy a duchy. Okay, well, this plays out fairly easily at the beginning. I don't want to put that stuff in my hand, so I will set aside. Okay, that was quite sad. That was one of my torturers, so now I need to find a native village, which I did. Okay, so they discarded. Okay, so I have a win here. I can Ironworks for curse and buy 2 curses, right? Okay. I think I had that a little bit earlier, but yeah, they had some unfortunate draws, and I think they needed to take some more curses aggressively. But all in all, they played that pretty well. I think they went out to a lead, and maybe had some unfortunate shuffles in the middle. I was able to pull it out. So I won the match 3-1. Good games to MackAttack. And I will see you all in my next match.